Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Clangin and Bangin with Mikey, episode 242. And yeah, I know I did a thing, man. Trim my beard. Kind of regretting it, really. It's like, it's alright, they'll go back in a couple weeks, you know. But college football kicked off. So college football kicked off. And let's be real, man. I wasn't expecting Texas to lose. I wasn't expecting Alabama to lose. I don't know who else lost, but I know the top 10 it just got shook the fuck up. But that just means one thing: Miami better fucking win. Miami better win against Notre Dame. That's all I gotta say about that. And y'all know where I'm gonna be at watching the game. Right the fuck here. But yeah, man. This episode, this podcast, we're gonna talk about. I've had a lot of young cats, and when I say young cats, I mean guys in their 20s and early 30s, because I'm headed to that old school, stage, right? It's like I'm fitting to be 37. I got a lot of young cats coming to me, telling me like, "Hey, man, well, I ain't got no problem getting a girl, this and this and that. Like I'm doing one in that category." And I'm like, "Well, what you mean, well, bro? Like, you got a girlfriend? You got a fiance? You got a wife?" "Nah, I'm just sleeping with so and so." I was like, "Nah, like that doesn't take much game, bro. Anybody can do that." They like, "What?" I was like, "Yeah, anybody can sleep with a girlfriend, one day out the week, or have a standing nightcap. That's different. What you want, man, is somebody that you can be vulnerable with, somebody that that won't shut down and run away when shit gets kind of heavy. And a fly by night situation don't do that, bro. And I think that's where people get it fucked up at. They think just because I got 20, 25 bodies or whatever the fuck it is, I know what the fuck I'm doing. But in reality, you're just well versed in one thing, the physical. And a relationship is much more than just the physical, It's the emotional, the psychological, the connection, everything, right? So there's that. So and like that's what I think about it too, man, because it's like when guys tell me that, I'm like, "You've never been in a relationship, huh?" They're like, "No, why?" I was like, "I can tell, because you're equating sex with just being in a relationship. If I equated sex, relationships I would have been in by now, more than I can count. Yeah. That's why it's like when people say that shit, or they end up doing X, Y, and Z, and I'm like, okay, that's cool, that's great, but whatever. But it's like, just to let you know, like, what you're doing is not a relationship, bro. It's like, just because you hopping online and like doing the online dating shit and it's banging, random broads, 3-4 days out the week, that does nothing for you. And it's crazy to me how many young men think that just because they're getting women that like they don't have a problem with with being in a relationship. Like, sleeping with one is way different than being in a relationship with one. And I'm not talking about the good morning texts or the good night texts or the hours long phone calls or any of that shit, right? I don't. I'm not talking about everything else that goes into it, right? There's like, I'm simply talking about like knowing how to be vulnerable and knowing how to be open with your shit, with your flaws and all this other shit, right? Because it's like, I read somewhere that solitude doesn't make you better. Solitude doesn't change you. The only way you can be changed is by being challenged. And they were talking about relationships. And it's true. Because, well, yes, solitude is great. Solitude is, phenomenal, for you to get your shit together. Solitude doesn't make you change. Why do you think every time somebody gets into a relationship, they got to deal with old triggers, old bullshit, shit that they thought that they got rid of, right? In reality, you don't. You never get rid of it. Reality is always gonna be there. So it's redundant for you to think that, like, oh well, this shit happened to me when I was 10. Like, my mom and dad got divorced when I was 12, and like, I'm cool with that. Like, and at 30, it pops the fuck back up. Never mind the fact that when some people get divorced, they never ever talk again, other than them having kids together. If they got kids, then yeah. And it's interesting, but it's also sad at the same time. I say it's sad because you don't want to go into a world where that's your model, and a lot of us, unfortunately, have that model. Me for one, my parents' marriage was not the best marriage. I often think that that's the blueprint as to why my relationships don't work out. Or as I got older, I realized that like yo, like, you got to get more open, you got to be more vulnerable with people, and not with everybody, but you have to be pick and choose who you want to be vulnerable with, right? And I think that's what's plaguing people today, man. It's like everybody's so afraid to be vulnerable. Everybody's so afraid to do X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, yo, if they rocking with you, they rocking with you regardless. You know what I mean? It's like, because everybody has what has what they said in confidence been used against them. I don't care who it is. And like, that's the most disheartening thing, because it's like, in the back of your mind, once that happens, it's always gonna happen. Doesn't matter who it is, doesn't matter what the situation is, doesn't matter, what you think it is. Is like, the reality of that happening, because it happened once, is pretty strong to happen again, right? And I think that's the most crazy thing, that people will walk around with baggage, And I said this last night on one of my tracks. I was mixing and mastering the album, trying to, I got majority of it done. I only got like 2 tracks left to do, and there's one interlude on the track. My brother, he's on the track, and it's a voice message. And he simply asks me, "Hey man," and this is from what, 7, almost 8 years ago. He goes, "Hey man, are you moving back, or are you just coming home for a wedding?" Because at that particular time, I was in flux. I was in between, because I had came back for Thanksgiving with the impression of moving, and no, my bad. This is 2019 going into 2020. So 5-6 years ago. And so I came back in 2019 for a wedding. And in that time frame, I ended up staying. And I was contemplating moving, again. I figured I did it once, I'd do it again. And I was getting ready to get all that shit ready, get it situated, and boom, the world shuts down. And COVID happens. And it's crazy now I'm thinking about it because all this shit happened because of COVID. Um, yeah. Let's see. I was preparing for a bodybuilding show. I was supposed to do 4 or 5 shows that year. I was just fucking going at it. And I was looking good. I was feeling good. Everything was working. Protocol was great. Diet was on point. Everything was just fucking locked in. Then March of 2020 happened, and so the world shuts down. I end up not moving because the jobs I had lined up, they were state gigs, but they obviously weren't hiring because you can't move during a. I mean, back then you couldn't really move freely, right? Because of the restrictions and everything. So fast forward, I end up staying here. A lot of stuff happens. My grandmother died in June of 2022. My brother dies in February of 2024. And recently, my aunt just died in July of 2025. And all this stuff is happening during COVID, right? So all these stories are happening. And the main thing I'm thinking about is I met my ex-girlfriend during COVID. I didn't know it at the time, you know? And it's crazy because like when we were together, only reason I started talking to her is because I mentioned this before in previous episodes where I had posted a picture of me holding a medal and it said nationally qualified or something. The caption said nationally qualified. And everybody else commented on the photo. And everybody else I knew for the most part. And then there was her. And I think she just simply said, "Hey friend, congratulations on getting nationally qualified. I'll see you in the gym." Mind you, I didn't remember talking to her. I didn't remember anything, right? Because I would see her periodically before COVID. And so this is 2023 when I got nationally qualified. So this is 5 years later. And I only remember one incident when I was talking to her because it was because of a trainer. And her trainer was, she's talkative. She's always into some shit. And she's like, "Hey, so and so, this is Mikey, this and this and that." Mind you, I didn't catch her name. I didn't nothing at all. And I remember she was working out back or shoulders or doing something. And I was like, "Okay, cool, have a good workout," And this was like in 2018, 2019. I never saw this girl ever again. Apparently, she would see me in the gym, but I never saw her. And the only time, and she's gonna kill me when she sees this shit, but the only time that I recognized her in the gym because she had these bright ass blue headphones, and she had on these matching yoga pants. And I didn't know this at the time, but she wore contacts. And I guess her contacts got stuck in her eye or something. And so she's in the middle of the gym, like blinking like this. I'm thinking she having a fucking seizure. I didn't say nothing though. And I was like, "All right, bet." And mind you, I didn't know who she was at all. So fast forward to that photo, me and her started talking. Then I think this is around the time where if people left comments on your post, you can either reply to them, with a message, or you can reply to them on the post. I replied to her in the message. And so we started talking, and me being me, I just did my thing, I was cooling. And so when all that popped off, she taught me a lot, man. It's like there was a lot of shit that was going on in, well, not in our relationship, but around our relationship, and it wasn't really us. It was just more like extenuating circumstances, right? But she taught me a lot, man. She taught me how to be vulnerable. She taught me how to, to it's okay to show emotion, because it's like I never really was the cat that showed emotion. Like I think the only time I would cry was at funerals. Acting cry in front of people, right? And fast forward to us talking. I get nationally qualified in September of 2023, and my brother dies in February 2024, roughly 5 months later. And ironically, I was supposed to do the Arnold Amateur that year, but my body wasn't moving. My body wasn't moving fast enough for me to actually get where I needed to go. And so I figured, fuck it. Let me just switch to a later show. But I knew I had to do it, within that calendar year. So okay, cool. So so I chose USA's, not knowing that USA's was fucking the biggest show, on the West Coast, at the time. And so, and then top that off, and a month or two before my brother dies, so we talking about it. He's like, "Hey man, I thought you were doing the show, dog." He's like, I am, but I'm moving it to a different, a different date. He's like, "Why?" I was like, "Oh, my body I don't feel like I'm ready yet." And he's okay. You're like, "Well, you gonna know when you know." And a month and a half later, 2 months later, he dies. And my world kind of goes into a tailspin, man. It's like, I didn't do anything outrageous. I didn't do anything reckless. It's just that the silence kills me, man. It's like, that was my dude, And I still get emotional talking about him, because that was my man. And it's always difficult to sit here and talk about him in a past tense. Because I think that he should still be here. He should still be here listening to my bullshit about my about the issues that me and my ex were having, right? And it wasn't really nothing serious, man. It was just like the issues that we were having, man. It was just, I'm naturally confident, Like, of course I'm shy. Of course I'm uncertain about things, but I'm naturally confident, man. It's like, and like, my self-esteem and my self-confidence is something that I've actually had to work on. You know what I mean? It's like, because I wasn't always this outgoing type of guy, right? But that's just something I had to work on, man. It's like, and I kept working on it. And it's like, and instead of me looking at my disability as a crutch, like my dad used to always tell me, like, "Hey man, stop looking at it as a crutch. Start looking at it as something to help you." It's like, what you mean? It's like, you're gonna have to work harder, simply just because of who you are, not just as a biracial black man, but you're also a black man with a disability on top of that. So you're gonna have to work harder than everybody else. So get used to working hard. And like, that girl came into my life and she turned it upside down in a good way. She blew up the spot. She was the best thing that happened to me. And me not realizing, right? And the amount of shit that people talked, man, mostly was family. When they found out how many kids she got, what she going through, this and that, And I politely told him, like, hey, I remember asking you for advice. Keep your mouth quiet. And like that's what it is. I think it's like you have to realize, who's important and who you want to bring around, and just because they family. And I'm tying this back into the beginning, but all these young bucks are telling me all this shit. It's like, it's like take a look at your family dynamic. Take a look at everything else that goes on. Like, has anybody in your family ever been married for a long period of time? Has anybody in your family ever had successful relationships, whether it's a friendship, a platonic friendship, a platonic relationship, or just a romantic relationship? Or take note of the people that got to jump from relationship to relationship. Chances are people who do that shit, who jump from relationship to relationship, they're the ones running from something. Like they say, the old saying goes, God don't make no mistakes. And he's right. I'm a firm believer that God will put people into your life to where you at least expect them to be at. And then when they're there, they're like, yo, what the fuck? I wasn't expecting this. Yeah. Growth is something that's painful. It's not easy. It's not something you can pencil in and do whenever you want to do it. It's going to pop up in ways that you don't know how to control it, or you can't control it. So you got to go, you just got to go with it. And lastly put, man, I had somebody that I used to be friends with told me something once. She's like, well, like, it should be easy, this and this and that. And I told her point blank, yo, if you want easy, just look back at all your relationships. And she's like, what? It's like, look back at all your friendships, and look back at all your relationships, and you'll see why this shit never worked out, because it was all surface level. Because when you meet a motherfucker who holds you accountable, you don't know how to handle that. And like, and this individual, she got cheated on, X, Y, and Z, and I'm like, no, I can see why guys left you. I can see why guys broke up with you. It's like, it's not the fact that they cheated, or you say that they cheated. It's the fact that they got tired of you. That's the difference. Nobody has to put up with somebody else's bullshit about like, oh, we're X, Y, and Z, yada, yada, yada. It's like, no, it's either you make the changes or you get left. It's like, I've seen people get divorced because, they claim they're not happy. And then they get mad because the soon-to-be ex-spouse is off dating somebody else. I'm like, you got divorced because you wasn't happy, but now you're not happy because they're happy with somebody else? You know how delusional that is? But, that's a different conversation for a different time, man. But it's like a lot of people are delusional because they don't want to sit there and like accept the fact that, yo, you the demon in the story. You the villain in the book. You the storm in your own season. It's like, I be telling people all the time, especially women too, and I'm like, yo, if we take back the cheater, number one, all you're doing is non-verbally saying you can do whatever you want to do and I'm cool with it. And I think that's the most disheartening thing you can do is because it's like, okay, you can do X, Y, and Z, but you're not free from the consequences of your actions. And sometimes the consequences of your actions is not a bad thing, man, because it's like leaving a friendship, a relationship, whatever it is that you have to do that to grow. And some people, man, you're not going to grow with them, so you got to outgrow them. I'm going to say that again. Some people, you're not going to grow with them, so you got to outgrow them. And they're not bad people. They're just that name the people for you. And the sooner you realize that, the better you'll be. All right, y'all. This is about 25 minutes of your life that y'all won't get back. Hope y'all keep it full of peace, private player positives, and pushing. I'll see y'all next week. I love y'all. And like I always say, know your worth because you're better than what you are. And whatever you think you can do, go off and do it. Because you know what? Your future self is going to thank you. All right, y'all. I love y'all. Have a good Sunday. Peace.